Good afternoon. Thanks for joining our session today. Hope you are all having a wonderful time of learning here at re:Invent. So before I start, let me ask you a question. How many of you use streaming devices or any other online platforms to watch movie, television series? Wow. Most of us have a similar interest here. But to get the content to us, there are many who work behind the scenes. They have to take a script and convert that into a content and deliver it to us. Whether it is a small to a large creative studios, they need to find ways to deliver the content faster to the audience to get their attention. My name is Kenny Rajan. I'm a principal solution architect here at AWS. Joining with me today is Jonathan Lee, Head of Media Engineering and Innovation at Amazon MGM Studios. Today, I'm going to give you a small overview of content trends and then how AWS for media and entertainment and partner solutions help companies like Amazon MGM Studios to accelerate the content productions and simplify the technology stack for the visual storytellers. Then I will invite Jonathan Lee to talk about how Amazon MGM Studios have pioneered the use of AWS and partner solution to accelerate that content production for our users. Finally, we'll have some time towards the end for your questions, and then don't forget to take the surveys. Right. One major trend of last several years is the rise of streaming videos and other online platforms. But the model of streaming videos, we all know that it requires the need for the fresh content more constantly. To do that, media and entertainment companies have to work together to create that content faster under blistering deadlines, and also same time look for ways to reduce cost. Media and entertainment companies also need to create ways to bring in the team globally and create remote workflows and tap into the global talent to distribute the contents and create contents globally. Finally, since the content needs to go faster, since the model needs content very constantly, they are looking ways to find what is the time-consuming process between production to delivery and take efforts to reduce the time-consuming efforts to simplify that operation. With that scale comes the complexity. If you ask my friends here at Amazon MGM Studios, they would acknowledge some of the trends that I outlined, which also resonates well with their the vision, which is the home for the talent. What they do is, in other words, they use creatives and visual storytellers around the globe to create content, global content like Rings of the Power, and distribute to the global audience. But to do that, to create contents like Rings of the Power, what Amazon MGM Studios MEI team, that is Media Engineering and Innovation team, have to do is to take that vast, complex technology stack and simplify it, which means, simplifying it will empower the visual storytellers to tell stories in better and meaningful ways. Now let's see how AWS Media and Entertainment and partner solutions help customers like Amazon MGM Studios to take that complexity out to simplify the stack for their visual storytellers. When it comes to AWS for media and entertainment, we have most proven operational expertise. As you all know, we have been doing this for more than 15 years. There is an internal code in Amazon which resonates well with this expertise that we have. There is no compression algorithm for experience. Today, AWS aligns with the most purpose-built media and entertainment capabilities of any cloud by offering 6 solution areas to help customers transform the industry around content production, media supply chain and archive, broadcast, direct-to-consumer and streaming, media and science and analytics specific for media, designed for media and monetization. What these solution areas does is, the solution area provides you with the starter kits so that you can use these curated solutions to optimize and speed up your deployment with one-click launch capabilities. The well architect emphasizes that these solutions also go through a strict security reviews. For example, for content production, we have built our burst render quick starts in close collaboration with third-party security independent evaluators. Although the solution areas is not a fully turnkey solution, that's where companies like Amazon MGM Studios have pioneered the use of AWS expertise and partners to integrate all these solution areas directly into their media workflows and in their system so that they can save the time and effort to launch the solution. You can also do the same. For example, for content production, if you need to spin up a virtual workstation, you can go to a solution area, use our starter kit for virtual workstation, launch it, and fine-tune it using our AWS expertise and partners that best fits your workloads. Then, when it comes to global infrastructure, we have many regions across the globe, which gives media and entertainment companies an unprecedented access to the global talent pool. So one of the trends that we outlined here is the media companies are looking for distributed collaboration and content production. So the global infrastructures provides you with that opportunity. Our customers also use AWS local zones to keep things like Visual Effects Studio closer to their artist to get that millisecond latency that they need to produce contents. Then, when using AWS for media content production, you can build your virtual workstations on Amazon Elastic Cloud Compute, powered by GPU-powered instances with technologies such as NVIDIA RTX. And for storage needs, you can use Amazon S3, a simple storage service designed for 11 nines of durability that gives you the industry-leading performance, scalability, and availability that you need. For your Windows home directories, you can also use Amazon FSx as a file server, and it can act as a central repository or a shared drive for your collaborators or artists to work on a content. This is how Amazon MGM Studios have pioneered the use of AWS so that they can start their edit workflows immediately. What they do is they bring these contents to Amazon S3 to get that central storage, and then connect with Amazon FSx, another partner solution, which gives you that shared drive experience. And then for compute and to spin up their virtual workstations, they use Amazon EC2 and empower their creatives to focus more on creativity, collaboration, and delivering the content than managing the hardware or render farms. AWS will provide you the infrastructure that you need, while your creatives can focus on the content. AWS also offers media-specific services such as ThinkBox Deadline for scalable and flexible compute render management, and then nice DCV for that display render protocol or display protocol that you need. Things like Elemental Media Connect with CDI will also help you to transport that uncompressed high-quality video within the AWS. We are not doing this alone. To help a customer to transform the industries around the 6 areas that I outlined, AWS for media and entertainment includes more than 500 ISVs and SIs to help you to transform your industry around the media workloads. The great thing about our partner is that you're not just working with AWS. You are working with the tools that you prefer and the tool that you use for your day-to-day content production, and to accelerate that the content production on cloud that you need. For example, you're not just editing with AWS. You're editing with Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve on AWS. So let me give you an example how AWS partner Adobe can help you to simplify your media workflows and optimize that media workflows for you. So traditionally, with camera workflows, what you see is you basically take the camera workflows, record that, and store those footage in physical storage like SSD, right, that stays locally. And then you have to ship those SSDs for your post-production team to start their work. Even with your media workflows on cloud, you might have to process these raw files for your post-production process by uploading and downloading for various work streams and media workflows within production to delivery. This is where Adobe is making things easier for you with their Frame.io camera to cloud solution. With Adobe Frame.io, you can upload takes like original camera files, OCFs, and proxies like with H264 and 265 formats in HD and 4K from your set and upload directly into Frame.io cloud storage. With Frame.io, you can eliminate that costly hard drives that you traditionally use and free your team from the usual production timeline. Frame.io enables that cloud-first workflow that eliminates the uploads and downloads within your content lifecycle. Along with our partners, along with AWS, our partners are also innovating for you. With Frame.io's latest Storage Connect features, you can easily connect your own Amazon S3 bucket directly into Frame.io for that next level storage flexibility. With that, you get that complete storage control that you need. If you need to use your own storage and just use Frame.io to collaborate or send the assets directly into the cloud, you can do that with this latest feature. Your post-production efforts are further simplified with Adobe Frame.io. By using Frame.io, you can access the content inside Premiere Pro and other NLE of choice like DaVinci Resolve. Frame.io provides you with the panel integration that you need. Because Frame.io brings media closer to your application, your editors stay within the panel. They don't have to upload or download. They use the same panel and start the edit workflows. There is always an option for Adobe to further optimize your content workflows while editing. If you need that over-the-shoulder experience, in other words, and get that high-resolution feed from your Adobe Premiere Pro into the broadcast monitor, you can use partner like Streambox that offers Creative Cloud plugin that encodes the video, the high-quality video signal from Premiere instance that's running on cloud and decode into any HDMI, SDI-based devices. You should visit our media booth. If you go to Venetian Expo Hall, there you will find AWS Industries. This particular workflow demo is available for you to see, witness, and see how things works there. This powerful combination of AWS for media and entertainment and partner solution help customers to accelerate their content production, to simplify their media workflows, and accelerate their launches to get that faster time to value. Now, I've talked enough. Let me call Jonathan Lee, the head of media engineering and innovation from Amazon MGM Studios, to give us his journey of building that next generation studio to accelerate content production. Thank you.
Thank you for setting the table, Kenny. Good afternoon, folks. Really excited to be here with you today to talk about what we've been up to for the last couple of years. What our team does, well, first of all, I'm going to take you on our journey over the last couple of years about how we've been building our studio at Amazon MGM. And really excited to tell you a little bit about the team. Our team is here to empower Amazon MGM visual storytellers to tell their stories in new and better ways and bring ease to what they do by simplifying technology stack. So why build in the cloud? Well, Amazon MGM Studios is a global enterprise. We tell stories all around the world in many different languages for many different cultures. And the problem with that is that we're dispersed around the globe. We're in many countries, we're in many continents. And just at the foundation of that, there's distance. And distance is often a barrier to collaboration. So what we're looking to do is to create a platform where we can collaborate seamlessly with our teams around the globe. And doing that, we looked to build in the cloud. And the first step was centralizing our data so that we could all work on our footage at the same time. And that was really the first part of the approach that we took, so that we could connect people. And it's not about the technology, it's about our storytellers and our audience, and bringing them closer together so that our storytellers are able to more transparently tell their stories across the globe. So once we're in the cloud and we have our data centralized, the thing about that is we aim to put all of our data into S3 so that it's protected. But S3 storage becomes more than just a data repository. It really becomes a hub for production, and that's really the foundation of how we work. So here you can see in this diagram that we're looking at sort of some of the traditional production tools. So one of the things that we'll show on the next slide here is a more traditional linear workflow. And we've been doing this for many decades. When we started out in the dark ages with film, you would shoot your film, you would can it up, and then you'd send it to the lab. And then from there, it would get processed, and you have to have video transferred. And it was this very linear sequential process that was just unavoidable because of how the media was at that time. Well, we still work in that fashion, but once we're in the cloud, what it empowers us to do is to take a new approach to production. We no longer have to approach the process of production linearly. We can resequence things with ease. We can start working on things differently because all the departments have access to the footage at the same time. And that's really a paradigm shift when you start working in the cloud. And from what we endeavored to do over the last couple of years was to build up in these environments so that our teams could work in the same ways that they did in the terrestrial domain. So the first thing we had to do was make sure that when we build up these virtual cloud production environments, that at a minimum, they're getting the same experience. So we have a functional and experiential parity between what was happening on premise and then what was happening in the cloud. And that's just at a minimum. So the question is, well, who cares? It's the same thing. So that's really what our baseline was. But once we're in the cloud, we were able to leverage all of the other benefits of being in the cloud. So starting out with centralization and having immediate, simultaneous and parallel access to the data across all departments. And then being able to scale up and scale down as well. So we took these tools and we put a lot of effort into virtualizing them and bringing that parity of experience into the cloud domain. And from there, the goal was we would endeavor to get our data into the cloud as soon as possible. One of our programs that we're very proud of is our cameras program. We've been working with a number of camera manufacturers. Red Cinema was actually the first to build direct cloud capabilities into their camera systems. And we had Red in the lab a couple of years ago, and I said to them, hey, can you build into your cameras the ability to send those camera raw files directly into AWS? And they kind of laughed and were like, that's impossible. You can't do that. There's not enough bandwidth. And I said, no, actually, we have these things called direct connects, and we have 340 gigabits of bandwidth here on the lot right now. And they're like, really? You can do that? And I said, yeah. So they went back to their teams, and eventually they built it into a couple of their cameras. This camera depicted here is a Red V-Raptor XL, and it's one of the first cameras to be able to send camera raw directly into AWS. So that is actually the straightest line you can get from on set and production into post. It's going right from the camera into the cloud. Now, it's not always practical to do that. We have other ways of getting in there, but we like to start on set as early in the process as possible so that we can enable all of these cloud workflows that we've been talking about. We also have been working with other partners with Frame.io for doing instant global dailies review as well. It's pretty exciting, the capabilities that we have now that we just didn't have just a year ago. So here is an example of one of our editorial environments, and that's virtualized. So again, we sought to reproduce that functional parity so that the teams would have at least the same experience that they did when they all had to be in the same room, but in the cloud. Now, the interesting thing about this is that first and foremost, we had to make sure that things were secure. So right from the get-go, we built in things like multi-factor authentication and directory service binding so that we would absolutely be sure that we had authenticated users and that the security was at least as good, in most cases, better than what you would have in a traditional terrestrial domain environment. Now, the beauty of this is that your editorial teams can be dispersed around the world if you choose. They can be in the same room, but they don't have to be. You could have an editor in LA, and you could have an AE in New York. You can really have the teams spread out for really working the way that you want, and it really empowers collaboration for a global enterprise like Amazon MGM. So another program that we've built up is our Color in the Cloud program. And that is, are folks here familiar with post-production process? Yeah, so color grading in DI is the last process in post-production before you make your final deliveries. There's a color artist that's adjusting the color. And at first I thought this would be the hardest thing to do in the cloud because you're dealing with the highest resolution imagery, sometimes 8K imagery, and also you need absolutely pristine color. So there were a number of problems that needed to be solved that were not easy, and that is being able to deal with this high resolution media in a very performant manner, and then also getting that high quality pixel stream out to the mastering display or the projectors. And as it turns out, it was hard to do, but it actually worked amazingly well. And we piloted this with a number of our shows, and we found that there is actually a way that they could save cost with production too, which is actually surprising. And we had a lot of early requests for this part of the program, and that was a hybrid color workflow where the team would do their conform in the cloud, and then they would finish at a terrestrial domain facility, but only egress the selects. And they ended up saving a lot of money on the storage that they for the show, because they wouldn't keep all of their data online at the facility. They would only be for when they were finishing, and only the selects. And that was surprising that that we had so much momentum for this part of the program. So how do we connect everything together? One of the early programs that we had, even before the studio itself was fully built out, was this program called Studio Fabric. And this was really a concept for connecting all of our global facilities so that we could collaborate regardless of the geography. And that was, we started to look at how we could do this. How can we connect facilities, and how can we get audio and video signals around the globe reliably and securely? And how we did that was we looked at leveraging the AWS services, like things like Direct Connect, things like CDI, Cloud Digital Interface. Think of that as like a virtual Blackmagic or Aja video I/O card. Things like Media Connect, which is an edge distribution system for video. So with Studio Fabric, the whole aim was to virtualize the process of video and audio signals routing. and sending visually lossless signals from our facilities globally so that we could collaborate on things like VFX reviews or remote color grading sessions. We wanted the ability to go from point to point securely, or to go from one source to a number of locations simultaneously, again, for the purpose of global collaboration. The other thing that this would be useful for too is if there's ever another pandemic, we're already now set up to collaborate remotely so that if people can't be in the same room together, we're able to achieve that with ease now. And all of this is built on top of AWS global infrastructure. It's really quite amazing what's available now. If you think about it, if you want to set up, say, if someone said to you, hey, I have 2 buildings, one's in one country and one's in another, and I need 100 gigabit network infrastructure, you'd be like, wow, how am I going to do that? Well, actually with AWS global network infrastructure, it's actually pretty easy to do. And again, the purpose is to tie all of our facilities together to bring ease for data transport, moving files around the globe, and also for really to send audio and video signals around. So, and the idea was to connect our global facilities as if it was one big facility. And so, if you ever worked in a broadcast facility or a post facility, you have router systems where you can route video deck A into rooms, into suites A, B, and C. Well, we can do that, but globally now. It's been a real paradigm shift for how we work and our approach to building studios. And part of this as well is that at the edge in the facilities, we built the video and audio routing infrastructure off of COTS, common off-the-shelf networking infrastructure, so that it's really simplified studio design. So we no longer have to use as much bespoke proprietary like SDI and twisted pair cabling. It's really simplified things for how we design and build now. So here's a number of shows that we piloted our cloud production systems on. And you notice a lot of them are not in the US, Spanish titles, Spanish language titles, and part of what we wanted to do was to bring ease to global collaboration, because Amazon Studios is headquartered in Culver City, but we have studio sites all around the world. We're in New Zealand, we're in London, all over the place. And again, really with a global studio, we needed to be able to collaborate with ease. So this brings us to the part where, as long as you still need people to make productions. So this is a project that we've been working on, and it's about to launch soon. During the pandemic, the theater business wasn't doing really well, and we had the opportunity to take over a 12-screen multiplex near their headquarters. So we embarked on this project, and this was formerly the ArcLight Theater. It's a beautiful old Art Deco building, and we had the opportunity to really build a studio for we're calling it the next generation, but it's really now, working with the cloud, working as a global enterprise, needing to work at the speed of thought rather than the speed of couriers and customs. And for anybody that's worked in production, and if you've had to move media around the world, boy, your LTO tapes, your hard drives can get held up in customs, and that is not a great thing. So what we've built is this infrastructure on the back end that enables this instantaneous collaboration, but in our new facilities. So it's an 11-screen facility, and we did a couple of things differently with the technology, specifically with the display technology. We built, instead of using traditional DCI screens, I know folks here are familiar with the old pixels and the new pixels. That for about the last 7, 8 years, the pixels you would get in the home theater environment were actually superior to what you would get in the theater. In the theater, you only had 48 nits of illumination, which is not very bright. High dynamic range can go up, HDR can go up to 10,000 nits. Most, there aren't any really 10,000 nit displays, but you can easily go up to 1,000 nits. So in our theaters, we installed a number of high dynamic range 4K and 8K cinema screens. So in this facility, it's the world's first 8K exhibition theater and also post-production theater. All 11 screens are Dolby Atmos, and it's really quite extraordinary. In the post-production facility, all of the post theaters are hybrid. You can do sound mixing and DI. It's all back-ended with AWS global infrastructure, so we're running things like DaVinci Resolve, Baselight, ColorFront Transcoder, Autodesk Flame, all in the cloud. So when we can start shows in a region and then finish them here at home, or do global interactive collaborative work sessions. It's pretty exciting, and we're also really excited about the new formats that we're supporting. 4K high dynamic range and 8K high dynamic range cinema. If you're in Culver City, you should really check the theater out. It's called the Culver Theater. Absolutely beautiful and definitely state of the art at this time. So we're also very proud of our Amazon Studios virtual production team. I think about 3 years ago, the Culver lot was basically a big dirt hole in the ground. And it was really an amazing opportunity to build a new studio without having any constraints of the past. So we could do whatever we wanted. And 3 years ago, there was absolutely nothing there. Again, dirt hole in the ground. And over the last year, we've built up probably, I would say, it's definitely North America's largest virtual production stage, but also probably the world's most advanced. And now we have the state-of-the-art post-production facility. So within a really short period of time, we've built up what's probably the most robust and technologically advanced post-production and production infrastructure in the world right now. So we're really proud of what we've done and what we've brought to bear for our storytellers, because really it's about empowering our visual storytellers and bringing ease to their process and giving them new capabilities so that they can just be creative and reach new heights. So really, really, really proud of this, and you should come by the lot and check it out. So with that, I'm going to ask Kenny to come up on the stage, and we're going to take some questions for anything that we've talked about today.
And before you go, one final thing. I would, if you have your mobile, we appreciate your feedback. Your feedback really matters for us. So if you can go to your mobile and give us your feedback before you head out, we'll appreciate it. Thank you.